Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I want this channel to be bigger than rSlash. So I only need 1.85 million of you to subscribe. So if you haven't already, please hit that button. We're jumping into some YouKaren. Here we go. This story comes to us from Ash Ketchup. Guys, I'm convinced my aunt is a Karen. So my aunt is the kind of person who makes literally everything a personal issue. Today, my family took me to the mall for my birthday since they're gonna be busy on the actual day. While we were in the car, my aunt randomly brings up that she believes that the word Karen is a racial slur against white people. Then proceeds to say that it was a term coined to specifically degrade white women. By the way, she's a white middle-aged woman who lives in her parents' basement who has hardly had to work a day in her life. You can just imagine the entitlement. I'm just internally facepalming at this point and decide to speak up. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've always thought the word Karen was a word to describe literally anyone, regardless of who or what they are. But I'm no expert. Anyway, she proceeded to make comments about Asian and Mexican people specifically, only going to that specific mall. She used to work there in order to scalp products and of course, threw a bit of a hissy fit over something she caused herself. She has lashed out in public quite a few times, so I'm really convinced she's a Karen. But of course, she'll get offended if I call her that at this point. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Usagi Shinobi. It says, I mean, she isn't wrong about it being a slur, but entitled narcissistic butthole takes too long to say. OP responded to this one and said, I'm gonna say that next time she says that, laugh out loud. I'm willing to bet that she's been called a Karen by someone else before. That's why she's adopted this point of view that doesn't make any sense, because she's trying to absolve herself of this by saying it's a racial slur completely directed at her. Alright, we have an update to the previous post from Ash Ketchup. It's called, I made a post not too long ago about how I think, no, my aunt is a Karen, and I've got some more to share about her. I figured I'd share a couple of her Karen-y outbursts. First one, so sometime last month, I went to the mall with her. She was given $300 to spend on both her and me. And so we decided to check out some stores and get some food while we were out. After we went shopping, by the way, I paid for all of my stuff at this point, which was some shoelaces and 2 shirts, and we agreed to get some soft pretzel bites. As we got to the counter, she flipped her lid because I didn't want to share a box with her and wanted my own cup of pretzel bites, then stormed off like a toddler. The reason I didn't want to share my pretzel bites is because she never shares evenly. Her idea of sharing is taking all of what she wants, then leaving a few bites for the next person. Also, I literally had no more money to buy my own soft pretzel bites because the only money I'm able to spend is the money I work odd jobs for, and she had $125 left of the money meant to be for both of us. Second one, I went to a nice Italian restaurant with my family to celebrate a birthday, and the entire time, my aunt had something to complain about. First, it was the menus, then it was the seats, which she kept harping on until we literally changed tables for her. Then after that, it was the service, which was great. The waiters were so incredibly nice, and she made quite a few racist remarks about the staff with darker skin. Overall, she was being awful. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called the Gangster Rapper. It says, so why are you still hanging out with her? OP responded and said, I live with her and she's the only one who can drive me place to place. Remember the comments I made on the previous one where I said that she must have been called a Karen by somebody else because she's the epitome of what a Karen is. I think I'd rather walk to go out than jump into that Karen's car. This story comes to us from Zandroida1. Karen thinks she has found out about some business scheme. So I worked as a waiter at a restaurant for a couple years. One of the most infuriating experiences was when a Karen and her group of baby Karens sat down on a table. I took their orders and brought the food, and half an hour later, I see that one of them has an empty glass. So I ask her if she wants some more water. It's important to mention that in the restaurant I worked at, water was free, and part of my job description was to walk around and refill any empty glasses with water. She looks at me, smirks a bit, and says, "Yeah, no thank you. I know you type of people." I was weirded out, but continued working like usual. A bit later, I ask another Karen in the table, this time the main Karen, if she wants some water. Here's the dialogue. "You asked my friend before, I know people like you, and I'm not gonna get my money stolen? No thank you." Miss, what do you mean stolen? Water is free." "Haha, and I'm supposed to believe that? Why would you intentionally go out of your way to give us free water?" Because it's my job?" "Yeah, no, I'm sure you will charge us for that later. Businesses always do stuff like this." "Don't worry, miss, water is complimentary and completely free of charge." "I don't believe you. Prove it." As you can see here in the menu, it says that water is in fact free." "Okay, but how can I know that you won't charge me for it later on?" As you can imagine at this point, I started losing patience. So I just call in my manager, this very assertive woman who doesn't take BS from anyone, and beg her to deal with it. Needless to say, the Karens left completely defeated. It was honestly hilarious to watch. The whole staff was spying through the kitchen door that had a window. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Monolith of Tear. It says, "For future use, a group of Karens is called a complaint." Another user down below, Rick RI401, says they are also called a homeowners association. Don't you wish as a server when you're bringing up these people's tab that you could just hit a button that adds on a PETA tax? That's pain in the butt tax. Because servers should get better compensated for dealing with groups like this. This story comes to us from Little Big Gran, Dueling Bookstore Karens. So I'm waiting to use a well-known bookstore chain bathroom. There's a line. A white privileged mom with her tribe shoves past me to get her darlings into the bathroom. A minute later, an older workman brushes past me to use same. The mother sees this as obviously some pervert trying to molest her kids. It's a multiple stall bathroom. She starts yelling at him. He says he needed to get in there. She screamed, "Her children don't see it this way." I meanwhile give up and sit in a chair to wait. The lady harumps away with her kid, only to immediately ignore where they go to. 10 minutes later, she's screaming their names. Apparently, she only worries about the bathroom pervs. Meanwhile, a store manager prevents the worker going in. She tells him their construction crew outside must have a site manager at all times, or the workers can't do anything. And she's telling corporate they're not paying for downtime. The workman leaves. I go in and hear water running all over the handicap stall. Apparently, the worker was going to try and fix it as a courtesy. A few minutes later, she drags in an underling male employee to try to fix it. So, the bookstore got no real repairs. I suspect there will be a padding of the construction bill outside. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called MuscleCars1970. It says, "Damn, this bookstore sounds like a real hellhole of humanity. Jesus." Well, I'm glad the commenter understood the story because I had to read it a couple times before I did. Apparently there's a Karen, but also the store manager is a Karen too, I think. I don't know. Comment down below because I have no idea what just happened. This story comes to us from Crate1990. Karen thinks we need to hire more employees. I had a Karen the other day. She walked into our store and was advised to sign in to our queue, and she would be helped when someone is available. A minute later, she started shouting in the corner, "You need to hire more people." After the third time of this, I responded with, "Our application is online if you'd like to apply." She shut up for a second and then said, "I was just trying to let you know." And I responded with, "We are well aware of our staffing issues. Lady, the reason we are short-staffed and had to outsource our call center is because of people like you abusing our reps." Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Host Off the Coast. wildlife documentary narrator. The wild Karen always ferociously prioritizes her own needs, ever changing as they are. Karen, that's exactly how it works. If you yell from the corner that they need to hire more people, those people are just gonna magically appear out of nowhere so you can get out of there faster. That's exactly how that works. This story comes to us from Sir Yobanos 141. Something I learned throughout the years at work. Not really an FU Karen, more like, that name again, I bet. Anyways, I work at fast food for 3 years part-time. I'm currently in college trying to pursue a degree in graphics design. Pay is decent at $15 for entry level, and the manager is surprisingly nice and willing to cooperate, unlike the managers I worked for previously. Working in fast food has its bad things, mainly customer service. Over the years, I've come to notice a trend. Whenever a customer finishes their order and I ask their names, sometimes I feel like a name would correlate to something. What do I mean? Well, over the years, whenever I get these names, their behavior is usually this. Karen, demanding, acts like a woman child. Bill, confused, doesn't know what he's saying. John, always wanting a senior discount. Joe shouts at me whenever I'm incorrect with their order. Mark orders a crap ton of food. Emily always tries to get free food. Courtney has 7 bratty kids. Etc, etc, etc. You get the idea. Anyways, as I made this post, I have 7 Courtney's orders. FML. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called The Riddler's Wife. It says, "This was a laugh I didn't know I needed. Thank you, kind Redditor." And OP replied to this one saying, "Glad I could help you out." I agree, this one was a great laugh. Although I had to try not to laugh while recording it, I recorded this 4 times. Just saying. This story comes to us from Prestigious Post 558. Male Karen in public washroom. Went to Costco today and went to the washroom. As you can expect, it's dirty as F. When I got out of the stall, this one guy starts demanding that I clean the stall, telling me how I should be taught how to clean up after himself. I tell the man that I didn't do crap and that it's like that when I showed up. Yet he keeps his stupid rant up, going on and on about how I'm irresponsible, while simultaneously blaming me for something I didn't do. At this point, I had enough. I told him that he can clean it if he wants and laughed at him. Boy, he got angry at that too. He was hurling insults even after getting in the stall, while I just laughed at how crazy the dickhead was. F you, male Karen. F your ugly hat too. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Joe Rat. It says, "That hat, r/fu in particular." OP responded to this one and said, "Screw his ugly butt cap, looked like a Make America Great Again cap." Alright, being a Canadian, I'm not going to comment on that part, but I do love the FU in particular. That's an awesome subreddit if you haven't checked it out already. This story comes to us from FunConstant6863. Karen doesn't like that her drinks are already labeled. I'm quitting my job this morning. After a year of dealing with unresponsive business owners that understaff every shift due to not being able to hold on to employees, and many aggressive door dashers, homeless folk that are mentally unwell, and just unhappy people in general. I'm quitting thanks to a regular Karen. Karen, a regular, has never once smiled or said good morning and in general has been totally uncool. Yesterday, she came in and ordered 3 drinks and a sandwich while we were starting to pick up and get busier. The other barista took the order and went to make the sandwich. I made the drinks, put them in a tray because she always complains that she has to put them in the tray herself, as they are out for the customers to take when needed, then called them out. She meandered for a minute, then came over to get them. "Excuse me?" "Yes." By this point, she has been rude to me for a year, and I don't go out of my way. She gets minimum wage basic service. "Hello, thank you, goodbye." "I need something." "Yes." "I need you to label my drinks." They're already labeled. I go back to working on the drinks I'm making since I'm done with her. Let me tell you something. Here we go. Looks like I'm quitting this job finally. Every time I come in, you never smile. You are always like this, and you never, sorry you hate your job so much that you, etc, etc, etc. My heart was racing and I was pissed. In the last couple of months, I've been spit on, yelled at, insulted, and more by customers, door dashers, and homeless people. I let her know that she could have a great day. Sorry she didn't like me. With each attempt to yell and insult me further, I loudly repeated, "Have a great day." She finally wore herself out and went back to her SUV parked on the red curb outside of our wall-sized window. She sat for a minute and I made another drink. I looked up and she was staring at me, so I made the next. Looked up again and Karen is holding her left hand up like holding a phone and waving it around. When I didn't react, she started aggressively pointing at her phone hand with her other. She was going bananas. I pointed to my ear, shrugged, and let her know I couldn't hear her. Today, I'm sending my "I'm not coming in today or ever again" text. I'm freaking out inside because rent, but I'll be darned if I ever deal with that dump or that bee again. OP added an edit down below. It says, "Edit, I didn't quit on the spot because the employer understaffs in a dangerous area. I wasn't about to leave the other person alone. I gave the same consideration in quitting that the owners gave me, their longest employee at the location. After I quit, they never got back to me. They just took me off the schedule. I will give any job the same consideration and respect that they offer the people who do their work. I would have loved to give Karen a few words that she deserved, but stuck with the loud 'Have a great day' because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction. I could not care less if Karen thinks she won. If that's how desperate she is to feel like a winner, when this is so very clearly not a win at all, let her. What a sad life one must lead to feel success when abusing others. I don't have time to teach life lessons for minimum wage." Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Just Mike Being Mike. It says, "A job that makes good money and needs no experience at all is a pest control tech. They're always hiring." Another user down below that called Berry says, "I'll second that. Easiest job I've ever had, and I get decent pay and a company truck with benefits." Now, my question is, will that pest control allow you to remove Karens? Because they're considered pests, right? OP, you showed a lot of restraint not dressing down Karen right there in the store and quitting on the spot. I mean, you could quit and you didn't have to leave. You could have just sat in a chair there and made sure your coworker was okay until someone else came in. But, you probably took the right route out and didn't burn bridges in the process. This story comes to us from Bluger00. Long time ago in a different life. Many years ago, I had my first Karen run-in. I was working at Comp USA as the service manager, both as a tech and a manager. I was out helping the floor staff with some sales and stuff. A lady comes in looking to get a zip drive installed into her 7-year-old compact tower. I said, "Sure, we can do that. You'll need this part and it's this much labor." She hit the fan when I said how much the parts and labor was. She said that Compact Tech Support said we can do it, and she thought it would be free. I had to try to explain to her that the computer is way out of warranty. And also, she's trying to install items outside of any warranty that was originally included with her computer. She started screaming at me, threatening to report us to the BBB, Compaq, etc., because we wouldn't do it all for free. She asked to speak with a manager, and I said I am the tech service department manager, and we don't work for free. She grabbed her computer and stormed out the door, nearly breaking the door. I told the general manager what was going on with a chuckle, and she laughed and told me to not worry about it at all. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called HonestGrade9645. It says, "Good call on not doing it for free. I mean, if CompUSA did work for free all the time, they would end up losing money. and having to go out of business. OP responded with laugh out loud. Well, this story goes back a little bit because CompUSA went out of business in like 2008, somewhere around there. And Compaq, well, that's just not a big brand anymore. I remember working on them when I was a kid, and that was longer back than I care to admit. This story comes to us from Etro. Bizarre Karen attack at the department store. Me, 45 white male, tall with beard, wearing a suit. I was going through a rack of ladies' blouses, thinking of a gift for my wife. Out of the blue, a squat, stringy-haired Karen starts loudly berating me, screaming, "Get away from my mother, you pervert!" I turned and saw that indeed, there was also an older lady there, the mother. Karen was accompanied by her own, awkwardly embarrassed teenage children. To be honest, I was so stunned at being harangued by a stranger that I just ignored her as her screeching became louder and higher pitched. This lasted a while. What saved me was my 3 young daughters, 8, 10, and 12, running up to me from the girls section to hug me and say, "Daddy, Daddy, we found dresses we really like." This scene of unself-consciously normal family life caused the scales to fall from Karen's eyes, and she spent an inordinate amount of time in apologies. The whole exchange was so lunar that I couldn't say a word. Ultimately, her family escorted her away in shame. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called DeFreak999. It says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, she apologized?" Another user called Not Starling says, "She'll surely be kicked out of the Karen Club for that." Yeah, wait a second. She apologized? She definitely can't be a Karen. And I feel for those kids. Could you imagine the embarrassment of having a mother like that out in public? Oh, I cringe.